Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Nolan Roberts, back with another video, and today we will be talking about the most influential family of football, the Mannings. Um, Arguably you could say the Matthews, but I've went with the Mannings, and I will tell you why in this video. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. All right, so to start off, we got Archie Manning. Um, Grew up in Drew, Mississippi, small town. Born May of 1949. Obviously, kind of old. Um, the oldest Manning. Grew up as like a farmer. I mean, he definitely wasn't from no city or like a known town, poverty and all that. But when he discovered the game of football, he was a frail player. He was 6'3", so he was tall, but he was only 160 pounds. I mean, the dude was small. But what made him so electric on the field in high school was his ability to scramble and still have good accuracy while being able to scramble. So he had the best of both worlds, and that's what teams liked about him. And his dream college was Ole Miss, and when the time came to play college, he managed to pick up a scholarship from there, and that's obviously the team he went with. In college, he set school records with over 4,700 yards, 31 touchdowns, as well as getting over 800 yards and 14 on the ground. He had a solid college career in an era where it wasn't very pass heavy, and then getting drafted by the Saints second overall, which second overall pick, that's pretty darn good. By the Saints in 1971. Wasn't Hall of Fame material, obviously. I don't think. I mean, he's not in the Hall of Fame now. I don't think he'll be in the Hall of Fame, but he definitely was the start of this family legacy, the Mannings. So, like, I mean, I'll just explain in the video why this family is so influential. Starting with him, obviously, in his career, didn't put up the most insane stats, but still managed to get over 20,000 passing, 125 passing touchdowns on 139 starts, as well as making 2 Pro Bowl selections and having 3 consecutive seasons with 3,000 or more yards. And then in 82, he also he played for the Saints, a really, really bad Saints team for the first 12 seasons of his career. And then in 82, getting traded to the Houston Oilers. And then in 83, the next year, getting traded to Minnesota and then retiring in 84. I mean, Archie was definitely a serviceable QB on a very, very, very bad Saints team. But he did what he could, and he went out and gave it his best and his all. And he managed to put up a long career, 13 years of longevity. I mean, so he did it. I mean, he had a decent career, but definitely wasn't Hall of Fame. But during his years with the Saints, he had children. He had 3 kids: Cooper Manning, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning. A lot of people have heard of Peyton and Eli. Not many people have heard of Cooper. That's what I'm explaining in this video as well later in the video. So let's just start with Cooper, the oldest. So Cooper, or what shall I say, when Archie was in the NFL, they moved to New Orleans, obviously, because that's where he played. And he didn't press the issue of football on his kids. He didn't say you're gonna be a football player or a quarterback. You're gonna do this and that. He just wanted to be a good dad. So he sent them to an educational school, a school that was known for their smarts, not their athletic ability. Isidore Newman High School. All of their kids attended to it, including the oldest to the youngest. Cooper was a great receiver on that team during high school. I mean, he was a star. Managed to play for his dad's home team college, Ole Miss, but sadly experienced a disease in his, I think it was his in the spine or something like that. And sadly his football career is over. But a lot of people wonder what could have he done if he had the chance to play, and it's going to alter a lot of things in the future for this family. But Cooper, I don't think, or not that I don't think, but I don't know if he would have made it big in the pro. But his main goal was just to play college ball, and which he played great in high school, but didn't really play a lot of college, with the disease that he had to experience. But he was good in his high school years because also he had Peyton as his quarterback, the younger brother. While Cooper was in his senior year, Peyton in his sophomore year, they were playing and they were lighting up the field like no other because Peyton was a good quarterback. Peyton wore number 14, Cooper wore number 18, and that's what started that. And then when Cooper experienced this disease, that's when Peyton dedicated his number to wearing a number 18, and that's why you now see it in the NFL on his jersey. And Peyton was born in New Orleans, obviously, in 76. And he played at the same high school, just like all the kids did it. And he was the best quarterback of his class. I mean, he was smarter like no other. He could read the field like no other, just at such a young age. Did not choose to go to Ole Miss, and a lot of people did not like Archie for that one because they felt like they were betrayed. He did end up choosing the University of Tennessee, but it was a good choice that he did that because he shattered school records with over 11,000 yards, 89 touchdowns, a 39-6 record, as well as being drafted first overall in the NFL draft in 1996. I mean, the dude was an absolute stud. I mean, his rookie year didn't fare too well, throwing the most interceptions by a rookie with 28. Also going 3-13 that year, but the next season had a bounce back year. Also, I had to make a correction. Did not get drafted in 96. Got drafted in 98. Sorry about that one. But in 99, his sophomore season, managed to flip the record and go 13-3. And as soon as that 13-3 season hit, it was just gone from there. I mean, he was playing at such an elite level for so long, having 7 straight seasons with the Colts of having 12 or more wins from 03 to 09. I mean, and with the Colts, he led the league in touchdowns 3 different times just with that team. And sadly, in 2011, experiencing a severe neck injury, making him miss the entire season, had to get surgery, and people thought that he just wasn't going to be in his prime anymore, that he wasn't going to be able to play anymore, and that seemed like the end for him. But he persevered, and he came back and got traded to the Broncos the next year. And his first season with the Broncos had over 4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns. First year with the Broncos after a severe neck injury, like a season-ending injury. I mean, he balled out that year. And you think he balled out that year, the next season is where it gets real. Shattering shattering season records, all-time records of over 4,700 yards, a league NFL history record, 55 touchdowns, had 115 passer rating. I mean, the dude was literally insane. I mean, obviously he got the Pro Bowl, he got the All-Pro, he got the MVP. He made it to the Super Bowl, but sadly fell to the Seahawks because their defense was actually unstoppable. But he managed to do it all in the regular season. I mean, he threw for 7 touchdowns in the game. I mean, he was really like on top of his game at such an older age. I mean, you weren't really seeing quarterbacks that old do stuff like that. Nowadays you do, but back, like, he was one of the first to do it at such an old age. And for some of his accolades, I mean, he had 14 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pros. I mean, 7 years of being the best quarterback in the league. I mean, that's insane. As well as being a 2-time Super Bowl champ, an NFL history record 5 MVPs, being the best player in the league no matter what for 5 different years. I mean, that is absolutely insane. As well as picking up 2 Super Bowl wins, one in 2006 with the Colts, and his very last season with the Broncos in 2015, Super Bowl 50. Managing to pick up that his second ring, and for some career stats. When he retired, he was the first in yards and touchdowns. Now, obviously, there's, Brady and Breeze breaking those records, so he sits at third in yards with a nearly 72,000. Sits at third in touchdowns with 539, as well as having 186-79 record and just a little over 96 rating. I mean, the dude, for his whole career, that is some crazy stats. I mean, you got to think. Longevity is really what puts a player into the Hall of Fame. I mean, you can't just have 2 good years and bam, you're in the Hall of Fame. You have to have an impact on the game, and you have to alter it, and you have to be good for so long at such a high level, and that is exactly what Peyton did. And I mean, he was just a beast, having 14 different seasons with 4,000 or more yards and having 9 different seasons with 30 or more touchdowns. Dude was absolutely the ideal quarterback, a franchise quarterback for the team. And now on to the youngest one, Eli Manning. Born in obviously New Orleans in 1981 of January, attended the same high school, Isidore High School, just like Peyton and Cooper, but in college did not follow the steps of Cooper and Peyton. He decided to go to the University of Mississippi and also set school records and whatnot. Same school as his dad, I believe, and managing to get over 10,000 passing yards, which is 5th SEC all-time, 81 touchdowns, which was 3rd SEC all-time, and 137.7 rating, which was tied 6th SEC all time. And another first overall draft pick. I mean, you got to think, for a dad being the second overall pick to their son being the first overall, and then another son in the first overall for 2004. So 1971 second overall pick, 1998 first overall pick, and 2004 first overall pick. I mean, that is just insane for family accolades right there. And getting drafted and then traded to the Giants in 04, I believe. Didn't play much his rookie year, but really picked up his second year. And then just 2 years later, defeating the 18-0 Patriots, including playoffs, obviously going 16-0, winning the division, winning the conference, advancing to the Super Bowl. Very, very underdog Giants team managed to clutch up 17-14 over the undefeated Patriots, and that was really a world shocker for everyone. And it really proved that Eli Manning could play at an elite level, getting his first ring and defeating the Tom Brady, and establishing himself as not just Peyton Manning's brother and not just Archie Manning's son, but as Eli Manning as a player himself. Going 11-5 that season, I mean, he just Eli Manning is not better than Peyton, obviously, but he's, I think, when you put it into ranks, it goes Peyton, Eli, then Archie. But Archie really was the one that's set in stone, and then Peyton was really just like, I am the Manning, and then it's Eli who just added on to the accolades, just like kind of like Archie did and whatnot. And just for some career stats, Eli Manning having over 57,000 yards, 366 touchdowns, and tying his record, or should I say, evening his record out with 117 wins and 117 losses. But for some accolades, dude made 4 Pro Bowls, twice as much as his dad did, along with 2 Super Bowl wins and an MVP, or should I say a Super Bowl MVP, because 4 years later down the road, they ended up beating the Patriots again in 2011. I mean, having 7 seasons with 4,000 or more yards. I mean, the dude played an elite level. I think he will be a Hall of Famer, but I do not think he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He retired in 2019, having 16 long seasons, but I think he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is eligible in 2025, I believe, so I think he will make it around 27 is when he will get inducted, and that is it for Eli Manning. Now, one player that I did not mention that a lot of you probably don't know about is Arch Manning. Not Archie Manning, Arch Manning, Cooper's son. Dude is the #1 prospect QB of 2023, and the dude is absolutely unstoppable. Plays for the same high school, Isidore Newman, and he's just an overall beast. I mean, for being the #1 ranked QB and just having the last name Manning says something. I mean, I can't wait to see this guy in college. I'm definitely going to be following him once he does, get into being the starter and all that at whatever college he goes to. And I'm definitely going to be excited for if he pursues an NFL career, which obviously at this pace he is. It's going to be exciting to watch him play. I mean, this NFL family is really just extraordinary. Just like I said, you could choose the Matthews in here, but when I was doing my research and whatnot, I mean, you got Clay Matthews, Bruce Matthews, and Jake Matthews. I mean, Bruce Matthews is a Hall of Famer. Clay Matthews is arguable, but they did not nearly have much influence as this family did, playing in most decades. I mean, Archie played in the 70s to 80s, and then you have Peyton in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s, and then you have Manning, the other Manning, Eli, in the late 2010s, or the late 2000s, and then late 2010s. I mean, they played decades of the NFL. I mean, it is really insane of what they have done and what the accolades and the stats and just the influence that they have managed to accomplish and whatnot. And just for 13 seasons for the dad, 17 for Peyton, 16 for Eli. I mean, it is absolutely insane. It is such a shame that Cooper got the injury that he had to suffer with, because who knows what he could have done. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Still working, still grinding on. I'm hoping you like the content, and Who Dey, got to represent. Super Bowl's just in a couple days. Today's Thursday night. It's a solid Thursday night, so I'm excited for Sunday. I'm rooting, obviously. I'm praying to the almighty gods. Obviously, I'm going to say it just like I did in my older videos. My prediction for the Super Bowl is 24-20 Bengals. And I did see some stuff about the Simpsons. They predict that the Bengals are going to win and scoring 34 points. So, be on the lookout for that. Anyways, guys, I do appreciate the support. Hit that like button if you are new, and that subscribe button down below. Comment down below any video suggestions you guys have. And thank you for the support recently. Anyways, guys, my name is Nolan Roberts with NFL Talks, and I will see you guys later. Peace.